All right, it's time for today's Talk Back segment. Each day we post a question on Court TV social media pages. We gather your comments and questions and respond right here on the show. The former Louisville detective Bret Harkinson, he is charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing shots into a nearby apartment during the raid that killed Breonna Taylor. But he was never charged in connection with the death of Taylor. So today he did become emotional and seemed to apologize to Breonna Taylor's family on the stand. So we asked our viewers, did you believe him? So still with me, criminal defense attorney and former assistant state attorney Tamara Walker. Let's get to some of these comments, and I want to get your reaction, Tamara, to our viewers. The first one's from Ella. She said, I believe he was sincere, and at the same time, I can empathize with him. He was protecting his coworkers, which are often like family. Thankfully, the neighbors weren't injured, but I can't imagine anyone else not reacting like he did. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, Tamara, and he became emotional, Hankinson, on the stand when he was talking about hearing his colleague Mattingly say that he had been shot in that moment. What are your thoughts?
You know, I think that he did portray that he was acting to protect a fellow officer who had been shot. The issue is whether or not he was acting appropriately, rationally, and within the color of law for his position. That's what the jury ultimately will have to decide. So just because the situation is emotional, as a police officer, you're charged with at all times being concerned about the scene and the safety of others. He wasn't. That's what, unfortunately, it could have resulted in more people, losing their lives that day, particularly the neighbors. So, I'm sure he has regrets. It was very interesting to me when he said he wouldn't have done anything different. I found that to be very, what else would he say? But I don't know if I believe that one.
That was a stark statement to me as well, but at kind of like the same point, that is his defense that he has to stand by. Just real quick, did it surprise you? A lot of times in these type of defenses, we hear from experts for the defense side to talk about what an officer may experience in those high pressure moments, tunnel vision, sounds are exaggerated. Right. Did it surprise you we didn't hear something like that to help explain his actions?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. He had always been saying that it was an AR-15. You even hear that in the body cam on the night of. And so it turned out to be a 9mm. So I'm surprised that they didn't have an expert, just like you described, to kind of fill in the blanks for the jurors as to how that type of difference could occur with a present sense impression of a very, highly stressful scene. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, me too. Let's get to another comment. This one from Harold. He says, I think Bret H. was intentionally trying to get sympathy from the family and the court. I don't buy it. Harold is maybe one of those jurors watching, Tamara, who maybe didn't really think the tears were sincere.
Well, the thing about those particular tears is that they were also self-serving tears. They may have been sincere, they may not. The bottom line is, in his position, it never hurts to be a defendant who's crying from the stand. So we have to measure it all out.
You're right, Tamara. I want to thank you so much for being with me this evening. It was an honor. Thank you for your insights. And again, thank you at home for joining me this evening. I'm Chanley Painter. It's been a pleasure. Up next, don't go anywhere. You're going to have closing arguments with Vinnie Politan. He takes a look at the